over the past 3 years, Nas and Hit-Boy have been on an unprecedented run. Starting with King's Disease 1 back in 2020, then King's Disease 2, followed shortly by Magic, then King's Disease 3, and now their fifth and latest project, Magic 2, which a lot of people will argue should be called Still Magic, but whatever. Now, the first thing that everyone is going to do when they see a new collaborative project from this duo is try to rank them. And I don't know that you can do that just yet, but off of the first couple listens, I myself would have this one a little bit lower than most. But after listening to it a lot more, because it is a fairly easy to listen to album, and there's only 11 songs, 12 tracks total, I believe, or 11 tracks total, 10 songs. I feel like, middle of the road is where it's at. Now, what they did with this project that I feel they did differently from the other King's Disease projects, as well as Magic, is really lean into the Magic name. And the Magic starts right from the beginning, right from the intro, with an intro from Archbishop Don Magic Juan. And accompanying this intro, we have production that almost sounds like it's from a carnival, which, magicians are there. Magic is in the air. But, it kind of fits the theme of the project as an intro and, obviously including Don Juan. Now, these Magic references did not stop there. On the second track, we have Abracadabra. Then on track 4, Black Magic. And then on track 7, Irvin Magic Johnson. And then throughout the rest of the project, it's kind of slight references to Magic and magic tricks, which we'll touch on briefly later on. So after we get this intro from Don Juan, we go into the track Abracadabra. And on this track, we have Nas kind of addressing people who are hating on them and Hit-Boy ever since they started collabing. I don't know necessarily where this hate is coming from. I don't know why people are hating on him. At first, I would have thought, people are hating on Nas just in general because, people, all these fucking nerds are going to say, Nas can't top Illmatic. It's like, dog, I know Illmatic is a classic album, and I know a lot of people herald it as the greatest album of all time, but sometimes classic albums and important albums aren't necessarily the best album ever. This is Nas's first album. Do you think he's really not going to improve or evolve over time? With that out of the way, the other thing that people probably would hate on Nas for is just beat selection, which makes it very interesting that he mentioned that people are starting to hate because of Hit-Boy. Because Hit-Boy's beat selection and production suits Nas very well, and on this project as well, it's very consistent and makes total sense all the way through. The only time that I feel like it kind of gets a little weird is on track 6, Boking Woodman, but that's besides the point. Anyways, after that track, we have the first and only new feature for this album from 50 Cent on Office Hours. On this track, 50 Cent's on here, but can't say that I particularly care for his contributions. While these contributions exist, it's just there. It doesn't feel like he necessarily added to the track, and he didn't really even do a full verse in my mind. And of course, everyone was excited because it was the first time that they did a proper collab in the last 20 years. But it felt very lacking. But the other thing that they talk about throughout this project, that song, is Fredos and how no one wants to be a Fredo, or no one likes Fredos. and everyone around them are a bunch of Fredos, which led me to question, what's a Fredo? Ah. So now I understand what a Fredo is, and it's kind of what I was gathering from the track. It's just a dude in the Italian family that no one really likes because they're kind of useless. They're just kind of there. They don't provide anything. They don't add anything to the family. They don't add anything to anything. Really, they just kind of exist. And they just keep fucking up. But with that song, they also talk about a lot of New York slang, which I thought was pretty cool. There were other tracks that I felt were important to talk to and really gathered or grabbed my attention early on. And the next one is Motion. Motion has Nas reflecting and thinking about the past 3 years where he's been collaborating with Hit-Boy and how this essentially rejuvenated him. And I think it's cool. I appreciate this sort of track from him. Moving on from that, though, we have Irvin Magic Johnson, which I can't necessarily say exactly what it's about because I don't entirely remember. Again, I've listened to the album maybe 6 to 8 times over the day, and this is one of the songs that stuck out strictly due to the Ghost and Raekwon references through it. But it is a good song, and I do remember enjoying it. He's talking about how he's just like Magic Johnson and he's enterprising. Nas, just like other, mostly Jay-Z, other rappers in their near 50s, start, expanding their business, expanding their horizons. They don't do just rap. Nas has other ventures that he's been in. The last couple of songs on this project are, in my mind, some of the strongest ones. With what this all really means, Nas is kind of, reflecting on his career thus far, and most importantly, I feel like he touches on a time in his life where, he was going through something tough in his career. The event that he's talking about is where I Am was going to drop. It was supposed to be a double album, but it was bootlegged. And, that shit's tough. It sucks. Like, that was back in 99. No one really wants their album to get leaked in general. But, back then when the main way to get people to hear your music is through CDs and people somehow get a CD of your album, it's, it feels different. It was an interesting song to hear, an interesting perspective to get from him. This then goes into another more introspective song on the project with Slow It All Down. And on Slow It All Down, we get more Magic Trick references, but he's also basically just talking to the young people. He's talking to the young bloods, saying, hey man, I was in your shoes once. I was young before. Like, the things that you're doing right now, I get it. I understand why you're doing it. Don't think that I'm different than you. I used to do that sort of things too. But he kind of takes that and applies it to, what his career has become. And, sometimes it's okay to make mistakes, but, kind of be smart about it, I guess. The last song on this project, and I say last in quotes because technically there's another song after it, is Pistols on Your Album Cover. And this is a mad aggressive sort of sounding song, but also he delivers it in not the most aggressive way. Now, let me explain. The way he comes into the song is he's talking about how he's like killing dudes on wax and just forget where people are buried. And this is the hardest shit since Eric B. and Rakim. Like, this song itself. But I think it goes beyond that. I think he's talking about just his run with Hit-Boy, where he's just killing y'all. Like, Nas is, I think he's turning 50 soon, but Nas is damn near 50, and he is still out rapping a lot of y'all out there. Like a lot of the popular artists out there, yeah, sure, you've got fame and attention right now, but Nas has longevity. You kind of can't argue with that. I mean, although I will say his demographic or target demographic may skew a little bit older, there are a lot of hip hop nerds, shout out to the hip hop nerds again, who really like Illmatic. And they're like, oh man, I love this dude Nas. He dropped Illmatic, it's the greatest album of all time. And every album he dropped after that is trash because he doesn't know beat selection. And then, give them some time and they'll realize, oh wait, no, Nas knows what he's doing. He can actually make really good music and he's damn near 50. Like, I don't know that any other rapper at this point in time that is popular right now can do the same thing. Like, it's possible, sure, but we'll see. We really just have to wait and see. Pistol on Your album cover is basically just him saying, I'm the shit. Y'all suck. Then the album wraps up with One Mic, One Gun, which is the technically second feature on this project from 21 Savage. And I don't necessarily consider this part of the project only because One Mic, One Gun came out, I think, before KD3, or maybe like right around KD3. So sure, you can consider it part of it. But it's one of those songs that's like, all right, we listened to this already. Now it's here. I'm going to listen to it some more. And it has grown on me because it's kind of forced upon me. If you aren't aware of where the song came from, 21 Savage went on Clubhouse, I believe, started talking some shit about Nas, and then Nas was like, nah, and kind of checked him, ended up doing a song with him instead of calling him dumb, which, a little more productive and shows growth in general. The reason I think that they really included this song on this project is to continue the trend, and I'm almost certain it's intentional now, of every Nas and Hit-Boy project having the final track be like a bonus or whatever, and on that track you have a more experimental sound to it. So it's going to be a beat that sounds different than anything else on the project, something that you wouldn't really expect Nas to be on, while featuring an artist, like a newer artist, sorry. Now, this is kind of Nas's way of saying, I am still in touch with the youth. I am still in touch with the young people. And, Nas is one of the best examples of that. There are plenty of older rappers who will just, talk shit about the youth, talk shit about new rappers. We had Dr. Dre mention that, and he called them crazy for doing that, called them grand people. But Nas has always been very open to collaboration with younger people. And I think the main reason for him to have this on this song, as well as all the other songs that he's done at the end of projects, is to remind people, like, yes, he is damn near 50, but he is going to continue to do these songs with people. Anyways, the album overall, upon my initial listens, is very good. I thoroughly enjoyed it all. I don't really have anything negative to say outside of the track that I didn't really care for, Bokeem Woodbine, as well as 50 Cent's verse on Office Hours. I know a lot of people are calling him a lot of people are saying that 50 Cent sounds like Rick Ross on Office Hours, and I'm sure 50 Cent loves to hear that. In general, overall, very solid project. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm, as always, excited to hear what Nas has next. I know KD4 is coming out, but I'm almost more curious as to what he would do when he doesn't do a project with Hit-Boy. And I think I mentioned this with KD3, and yeah, I still kind of feel that way because we're getting to the point where, okay, we know kind of what Hit-Boy is going to give Nas. Can we get someone to kind of push Nas a little bit further out of his comfort zone? I don't know. But anyways, I've rambled long enough. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of Magic 2, aka Still Magic, in the comments below. Also, while you're down there, like and subscribe to see more ramblings and content like this. Thank you for watching, and please stay safe out there.